today with Surf Training Factory.
What's up, guys? Luke is here. I just arrived. Late trip.
Not at all. He's behind the camera.
True that, true that. Well, today we're going to be talking about how long are surf competitions and other things as well. Or else we would just say 5 minutes, done, podcast,
No, it's how long the surf competition should be, and it all really depends on the organization and what type of competition it is and where it is, really, because every country runs it differently.
Yeah, and based on number of surfers,
the number of heats, the number of rounds, the number of divisions. I mean, there's a lot that comes into it.
Yeah, depending on the organization, how many, if it's men and women, that changes the numbers as well.
Right. If there's money involved or if there's no money involved, that changes a lot too.
That's right. And if it's just individuals or teams and so on. So really, there's a lot that goes on to it, but just like Salome say, depending on the organization that is putting the event together, these things will come into play, right?
Right. And we're going to talk mainly about the World Surf League, which is the WSL. It's the biggest organization in the world. And then the International Surf Association, which is a little bit different because this one's more team-oriented than individual. Right.
And if you guys were looking in the past and everything, and you guys were looking at like ASP and WSL.
ASP is now WSL.
Right. So that was what it was years ago. Not too long ago, it was ASP. So if you guys are jumping in and looking at stuff, and then you look at WSL and some ASP stuff shows up, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was what it was in the past, right? Just like some brands changed names and stuff like that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And most competitions have, I would say, professional competitions like the WSL, the ISA, International Surfing Association, they have around 11 to 15 days window so that they can run on the best days, weather permitting, conditions, best waves, really anything. So they have 11 days to run the contest. They can run it for 11 days, or they can pick the 5 or 4 best days so that they can have the best conditions.
And that's exactly that. They have to have this window for the surfers to know, because surfing is dependent a lot on the weather, right? We don't just come in. Nowadays, there's the Kelly Slater pool. And
this one has no window.
There's other pools being built and everything. Well, again, we don't know. We know there hasn't been really an event in the Kelly Slater pool where there's been a super gnarly storm and lightning's crashing everywhere. True. I'm pretty sure they're going to say, hey, we're not going to surf with the lightning crashing a mile away from here.
Yeah, that's very
Which is hazardous and everything. So, but mainly at any other beach created, it's a mother nature and all that. Yeah. You're going to have that window, because you're like, oh, the weather's beautiful, and no swell. Or no swell, and there's just nothing really rolling in, even though these are like the best spots in the world.
Right, they definitely pick the best spots
in
the world.
And around the time of the year that those best spots are pumping to surf.
Yeah.
Right, so, but again, could it happen? Yes, it could happen where it's horrible weather or the swell is miniature.
Yeah, 100%. So the WSL competitions usually, there's the main stage where everybody wants to get to, which is a championship tour, what we call the CT. And then there's right below is the qualifying series, which is most people start with everybody starts with the qualifying series or the junior tour, and then they qualify for the CT tour, which we'll get into.
Yeah, mainly we see people from juniors jumping into the QS. It's rare for you to just see some 20-year-old dude that's never surfed in any junior events just jump into the
CT
to the QS and then the CT, maybe from another country or something like that.
It's happening.
Countries with less money that can't afford to travel. Like if you're in the US, we're blessed, and if you've surfed all over the world and you've gone to, Madagascar, El Salvador, Guatemala, you see that they will have less financial resources than we have here.
Yep, 100%. And so everybody kind of goes through the junior tour until they are like 20, I think. And then it goes to the QS, and then it goes to CT if you qualify for it.
Correct.
But the WSL also has big wave tours, longboard tours, Masters Championship, Junior Championships. Like, they have so many other tours and events.
So after a certain age, you don't have to keep competing in the CT at 50 years old. You could go to Masters and compete there, but you got to be at a certain age. So you
I'm
couldn't
pretty
be.
sure that's invitational too.
Yeah, and you couldn't be. I don't believe you could be 20 years old at Masters,
no.
right? So there's a certain age that you would have to be there. You know?
Yeah, 100%. So the CT is 34 men, which is the top 17. Right?
17
It's
is
34
women.
men and then 17 women.
Yeah.
Top of the world. But then there's also wildcards that are added to it, and that's for like the local events.
Maybe a local from that surf spot.
Or like whoever let's say like Red Bull is sponsoring the event, and they pick one of their best surfers to go as the wild card. Or they have the top of the QS Junior Tour go in and like kind of showcase their skills.
Like Bethany Hamilton, if you guys have seen it, or even seen her movie Unstoppable that we've mentioned in the last one, she was actually a wild card in a couple
multiple times.
Yeah.
She was just a wild card at the US Open last week.
There you go. So see, she, you know, wild card, they put her in there. She's not in the CT, but she has surfed in the CT as a wild card, right?
Yeah. So all championships have money, and now it's equal prize money.
Yeah, equal pay for men and women.
Right. I think it's only in the championship tour. I'm not very sure about.
That's a good thing. Yeah, we
series
look up on that.
Or the junior. I don't think so. I think it's just a championship tour. It would make sense. But most people go through all of that process. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, the QS is point based, so it's not like. Obviously, the championship tour is point-based too. Whoever has the most points is ranked number one. But the way that you're going to get to the championship tour is by getting the most points. Yep,
the most points you get earns you a spot to go into the CT.
Right.
Where also you'll see people in the CT
the QS.
Oh yeah, they're in the CT now. They're surfing there. Their name is out there. They'll still go into some, depending if they're local and it's easier for them, whatever it may be, they'll still go to those events just to rack up more points so they keep that spot there without a problem.
So that at the end of the year, they can qualify for the tour again, because it's really hard to stay on the tour, because at the end of the season, the top 22 of the CT stays for the men. The top 22 stays, and then the top 10 of the qualifying series goes in. And then they have two replacements, which means that 10 people, right? Yeah, 13, no, I'm getting confused. 12 people from the CT tour get kicked out of that tour unless you keep your points.
Tough.
For the men. For the women, it's even harder. It's the top 11 of the women stays in, and then 6 from the QS comes in, and then 2 replacements as well.
That's right.
So it's super intense and super crazy. That's why they have to do the qualifying series, because...
And some of these guys have been in the CT for years. Yeah. Some of these guys have been in the CT since they were like 15, 16, 17. Well, I'll go a little bit higher, right? Because I don't think what was the youngest guy that got in there?
The youngest ever is Caroline Marks.
No, I know women, but in the men, I know that
17.
Gabriel was young. I know that Felipe was really young when he went in.
17 years old.
Kelly, I believe, was young too when he went in there.
Jeremy Flores was 17.
There you go. So a couple of guys, usually that's around the age for the guys that go in there.
Peak.
And, you know, look at how old Kelly Slater is now. Look how long he's been in. Yes, he's taken a couple of years off back in the day and everything like that, but still in that spot, you know. And the same thing
have to
what's that?
Keep racking up points.
They got to keep racking up points to stay up on top. So they're either killing it and always in the top 10, crushing it, their points are just stacking up in the top 10, or if they start dropping off and you don't hear much about the guy that's like 28, 29, 30, those guys are popping around in QS events.
Which is even harder because you're double traveling.
You're right. You have
so hard.
A lot of that pressure. So it takes a lot to do it. Those guys are machines, and those ladies are machines as well. Even more because
it's even harder.
It's less women, you know. So it's harder to stay up on top, which is amazing.
Yeah, a lot of the girls do the Supergirl Pro and the US Open just because it's so much fun in Huntington. And then they rack up some points, so it's pretty cool.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
So what else?
The International Surfing Association, like I was talking about.
2.
is another big organization that's around the world, but it's more like the Olympics type of style.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
But it's just surfing.
Yeah, and it's based on teams.
Yeah, so there's 4 men and 2 women of each country that comes in and competes, and then they have a team championship, and then they have individuals and everything like that as well. But it's, you come in with your country, you don't come in by yourself.
Right, so you do see, going back to WSL, you will see the guys and the girls, they're surfing and they have the flags on their arm. They represent their country individually.
Right.
But this one is straight up, oh, what team are you? US. It's not like I am. You come with
your team and you put the sand of your local beach and
right.
you do a whole ceremony. It's just like the Olympics, just surfing, really.
100%, and which is really the ones that are behind the Olympics right now, correct?
No, not all of them. It depends.
No, I'm saying the organization working with the Olympics.
Yes, 100%.
Instead of the WSL. Yes, the WSL
they're
is
in it too,
of course, but the main body would be
the International Surfing Association. Now, there's no money in there. It's just medals and titles, so you can be a world champion, which is pretty cool.
And you're not going to get a purse, but those sponsored surfers
are getting money.
Right, but the organization itself is not going like, hey, you just won, here's $50,000. No.
The WSL is the professional league, so you're making money. It's your job.
It's the same thing with the Olympics. You're not getting paid for that gold medal, but you got a bunch of sponsors that are paying everything for you.
Right.
So, again, very important to understand where the WSL, you're like, I got my trophy and my pocket is fat from the event.
And a new car once in a while.
And a new car once in a while. Right. Which some of them in themselves by sponsors get paid here, or like have a Jeep here. You're sponsored by Jeep.
Or Audi.
Or Audi or whatever it may be. Like I'm sponsored by Maserati. So.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
He wishes.
I don't actually. I serve a Maserati. I'm
gonna
put my boards.
I'm
gonna just. It's all gonna be dirty. No, I need a truck.
If you're a sponsor,
throw that sucker in there.
You're gonna say no. If somebody gives you a Maserati,
no, I mean it's my sponsor. I would have to say yes, but then again, it's
they pay you to. They pay you to drive it.
I don't know. I'm really big on. I believe in like what fits into your lifestyle. And
if they pay you to drive it, just go with it. Doesn't matter if you get wax on it.
Okay, all right, Maserati. I will take the car. Stop twisting my Stop twisting my arm. I'll take the Maserati. That's all good, and nothing wrong with Maseratis. They're just poor man's car. I'm just saying.
He likes his truck.
So I do like truck. Awesome. So back to International Surf League, which is pretty awesome, amazing league. We actually
saw it in Nicaragua. Yeah, it was amazing.
We didn't really even plan to go there. We were going to surf trip, and
how did we find out?
We got there.
Oh, we couldn't surf for Pollo, so we walked over, and it was super busy, and we're like, "What is this?" And then we said all the different teams, and we hang out with like the Portuguese team was at the same hotel as we were, and there was another team.
Well, and just so you see, like pro surfers that are or were in the WSL there as well, like Damien Hopgood was there representing the US, right? And he also surfed in the WSL. So can they do that? 100%.
After they retire, usually.
Well, yeah, possibly.
Yeah, but those ISA competitions are held in different parts of the world every year. So it's really good because it's really cool because it showcases surfing all over the world and kind of makes it a little bit more popular.
Yeah, as it should be. They usually have something going on with the community too.
Yeah.
Taking kids out and stuff like that.
Yep, and the World Surf League is starting that too. Every wave, every moment or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Again, just like the WSL, you look at how many men we have in the CT and then how many women we have in the CT. It's kind of like a similar thing. There's more men than women, correct?
Yes.
4 men, 2 women.
Yep.
Like you
of
said.
each team.
Of each team, correct.
Yeah. So a heat is kind of like a phase of the surfing competition, just like in the UFC, you have a match, right? It's kind of, or a fight.
You have
it's
a
kind
fight.
of like the same thing to show who's the best.
You have each round, you have 3 rounds if it's a regular event, and then you have 5 rounds if it's the main event, right?
Are you talking about the UFC?
Well, yeah, that was explaining the UFC, which is something big as well. Yeah, matches. Yeah, there's
I was like, what?
Bloodbath there.
Yeah, so he can last between 15 to 40 minutes depending on your organization, the swell, the conditions. I mean, the waves timing and everything like that. When it's a little bit longer, then they usually extend it.
And local events can be completely different from this stuff.
They're so different. So we're talking about like the professional league, because the local events are
different.
Let's say a mess.
It could be a different. It could definitely be a different.
Yeah. Anyway, so the professional surfers can surf a limited amount of waves, and then each wave is scored on a 10-point basis. So
one being
0 to 1.9 is poor.
Yeah.
2 to 3.9 is fair.
Right.
4 to 5.9 is average. 6 to 7.9 is good, and then 8 to 10 is excellent. So you aim for that excellent.
8 to 10 all the time. I'll paddle out, and like just paddling out, they're giving me 8s and 10s. It's pretty amazing. Like,
he doesn't even compete.
Man, that is true. That is true. That's not my thing.
So,
I just love surfing.
Yeah.
I compete with myself.
That's the best part. So at the end of the heat, they take all the scores that you've had for, say, let's say like Lucas had like 20 waves and I had like 5. They pick the best 2 waves for each of us, and then whoever has the best sum
total amount,
total amount wins.
Right. So like for example, I got 19 and she got 4 because she's competing against me, and I win.
You're so mean. Oh my gosh.
I gotta win at some point. Like in reality, it's not gonna happen. So
Sure.
I gotta win here.
Sure, that's fine. So the heats can be like men to men, 2 men, 3 men, 4 men. Sometimes even in local events, it's like 6 men. That's a little too much, honestly, in my opinion. Just because you're fighting with 5 other people, and there's usually no waves. So.
Speaking of Florida, again, we're living in Florida. Just remember that. Bring back people to Florida.
Do not come here.
Don't. Not for surfing.
Anyways, as the heats go through, like as you go through like qualifying, semifinals, and finals, it usually goes down. It goes like from 2-man heats or like 3-man heats, 4-man heats max. It doesn't really go to 6 unless it's really an unorganized association, in my opinion.
Right.
But there's like 4 or 5 judges, or in the WSL there's like 10 judges, right? I think.
I don't know.
There's a panel of judges, and then they all score you depending on what you got, and then they kind of get the average
individually
of everybody.
Yeah. They score their own numbers. Each person scores their own numbers,
and then they get the average of everybody for that one wave, which is like, it's a lot of math.
But it's going to be based on your
2 best waves.
2 best waves.
Right.
Right.
Man, I never thought math was that involved.
That's right. So if you're going to be a judge, you better know a little bit of math.
No, they have calculators. Are you kidding?
You better have a calculator that the battery doesn't run out in the middle of your 20 to 40 minute heat.
Yep, that's
throughout
true.
the whole entire event in 11 days. So bring extra battery, judges.
So the criteria are like, they look for like commitment and difficulty of a wave. They look for innovative and progressive maneuvers.
Right, so again, you're just doing a bottom turn and a snap. And then the guy's doing a bottom turn and an aerial. That's going to be a little bit more difficult than the snap.
Yeah, and then the combinations of major maneuvers, like doing an aerial, then the snap, then the cut back, like they like to see different things on the wave, not just the same thing over and over again.
And of course, that's also going to depend on the type of wave as well, because if the wave is more mellow, there's no way you're going to pop an air. The judges are gonna understand that, so don't think in your head like, man, I gotta pop an air and then a reverse 360, and then it just
it depends on the type of wave, the quality.
If it's just a barreling wave the whole entire time,
you just gotta get barreled.
You're gonna get barreled, and that's what they're looking for: the best barrel, the longest barrel, how deep you are in the barrel, and so on.
Yep, the variety of maneuvers and the speed, power, flow is huge. When you're getting judged for surfing, but also like the quality of waves, the height of the wave. Honestly, they look for the biggest waves, which really doesn't make sense because a lot of times the smaller ones are usually the ones that
open up, that don't close out and everything. So the judges have been around the block a couple times. Have surfed these spots themselves.
A lot of them are used to be professional surfers.
Right. So it makes a difference when they're judging. They know what they're looking for, and there's a ballpark figure with what they're all going for, right?
Yeah, 100%. And you could lose points as you violate the rules. So if you're dropping in on somebody,
yes,
you lose
she has
half of
priority, and she starts surfing for the wave. She gets up on the wave, and I get up on the wave too.
He loses half of his best waves points. So if he has a 9, he goes down to a 4.
Right.
Which is huge.
It hurts you hard.
Right.
Yeah. So you gotta really understand. Yeah, you gotta really understand the rules, so to make sure that you're not gonna mess yourself up.
Yeah. And if it happens, it just happens, really.
Right.
Honestly. But depending on what kind of competition it is, and how many rounds, and how many people, and how many surfers, how many people, and everything like that, it depends on how many heats there's gonna be, really. Because I've been to competition, there's one final.
Right, everybody goes into the final. There's 4 girls, all
Everybody
4 girls
goes to the final.
go into the final instead of doing
Sometimes
like,
they give you the option.
They do ask, and from my experience and seeing it happen, is everybody's just like, let's just do one final instead of doing like semi-final. Or depending on who's on the thing, you're gonna say, hey, I got a better
just
chance.
One way. Just one heat is better, so that you surf less.
Well, and you surf less, but when you do have that semis, you get to kind of warm up if you haven't.
Yeah.
If you don't feel comfortable yet, you did go out there, you paddled before your heat, which obviously you should always do that. You will surf a little bit more just to make sure you understand the waves, you're reading the waves right, and so on and so forth.
Last year at Nationals, they asked us, they're like, do you want to do 2 semifinals and a final, or just straight to a final? And everybody voted finals, and I was like, no, I want to do a semifinal too. Like, I want to surf twice.
Yeah, so they did just a final. That was it, right?
Yeah. Oh well,
so,
whatever.
Right.
But it really depends on how, like, if there's like 50 surfers, then it's really going to depend on how many men heats they're going to do. If they're going to do 4 men heats, 3, 2, 1. Well, no, 1 is impossible. But, it depends on how many people they're putting into heats, and then how many rounds they're having. I mean, it gets so intense.
Yeah, depending on the event, too, they can really change it up as they want.
Yeah, and on our website, we have it all broken down on how the WSL works. With their round 1, they do a 3-man heat, or maybe it has changed by now.
Right, and that's the whole thing. It could have changed already.
And then one skips around, and then so we have it all broken down into our website. If you want to check it out, Surf Training Factory. And then that's pretty much it. All about heats and competitions, and I'm excited to go to the next one. If
you guys have any other inputs that you'd like to share with the people watching this, don't hesitate to do this. Please educate others on it so they can actually understand a little bit better. Maybe you are an ex-WSL judge. We would love
to talk to you.
Yeah, to talk to you about it and what you think, maybe, where it was before and where it was gone, and how do you think that bettered the sport or possibly made it worse? Because everybody's got their own opinions, and we do this all based on your own opinion, right? It's not like everything is written in stone. This is the best thing, period. These are all our personal experiences. So depending on what you like, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you guys for today, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share to everybody, because this can definitely help somebody that's looking for this information. And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Again, I think every week.